I want to talk to you about how to ship planes in the mail, and this will be an ultimate guide for you. Okay, so here are the opening remarks here. Shipping live planes require careful planning. Okay, you got to have proper packaging, but you also got to really think about complying with complex regulations. So whether you are doing e-commerce fulfillment for your plane store or just moving house planes across state lines, successful plane shipping depends on understanding both legal requirements and also proper handling techniques. And you got to really have both those two elements, okay? So in today's conversation, I want to really explain everything to you that you need to know about shipping planes, like federal and state shipping regulations, carrier requirements and options, proper packaging methods for different plane types, because every plane is different, especially when you are speaking about a live plane. If you are speaking about a live element, you got to really pay attention to extra things. Okay, you got to really pay attention to more criteria, if you will. For instance, temperature and moisture control. That's really important from an accountability point of view. And you also really need to think about maybe getting expert advice from professional plane shippers. I mean, there are certain planes that are so sensitive, so delicate that you really need to have an expert touch. You can't do it, especially if you have no experience yourself. You might want to really rely on third-party advice. But the bottom line is, whatever you do, and I want to insist on that, whatever you do, you want to check the authorities' the authorities' instruction to make sure that you are not actually running afoul of the law. So check USDA and state regulations before shipping planes, because the thing is, restrictions, and I'll speak about that later on so that you can really be clear about what to do. But restrictions vary significantly by location and plane type. And some states, like California, for instance, have strict quarantine requirements. Okay, so this is one of those things where you do not want to play with stuff. Okay, and you want to ship planes early in the week using expedited services. You want to avoid weekends and holidays to actually prevent planes from sitting in warehouses and minimize transit time. Remember that you are speaking about a live element. And pack planes with slightly moist, not wet, soil, wrap roots in damp newspaper or paper towels, and seal in plastic to maintain moisture during transit. Okay, and what I want to say here is that you also want to remove planes from ceramic pots before shipping and use lightweight plastic containers to reduce shipping costs and prevent breakage. Finally, you want to use waterproof labels like live planes, perishable, and this side up standard paper labels to really think about like preventing more damage. So let me talk to you about the steps here. How do you ship planes in the mail? First thing first, I want to go back to the authorities. You want to ask the USDA. Okay, the authorities know everything. If you go to the USDA website, you will have the most updated information about regulations, not only at the federal level but also at the state level. So your first move, no matter what, if you want to ship planes, you want to look at federal and state regulations. There are state-by-state rules for shipping plane cuttings through the mail, so you need to look at requirements from both your location and where customers live, right? So the origin, but also the destination. So when you've got a carrier selected, reach out and they can help you find the correct information and label your packages appropriately. That's what you want. You want to really be on the right side of the law. I want to insist on that. Now, let me give you some early reading requirements that include plane shipping rules for how to ship planes. You can review general plane protection regulations, including restrictions, okay, laws, rules, and acts that address pets. That's really important. And this is actually on the USDA website. And you can also go to the USDA they have a database to see if the plant is prohibited or has other state-based limitations. That way you know you are on the right side of the law. You also want to read plant labeling and other information for shipping and imports. You want to check state regulations directly from the states or third-party services. That's important, directly from the states, okay? And you also want to ask your carrier for their information. Like, for instance, you can actually reach out to USPS You need to reach out to USPS or UPS or FedEx or DHL to see what they have to say about you shipping live plants through their system. Now, unfortunately, you need to review actually every order because states have many different rules that may prevent some shipments because certain plants are banned, some face quarantine periods, and others may need to be inspected. Okay, let me give you an example. California, for instance, has some of the strictest regulations because of the importance of its agricultural industry. So you can't import any citrus plants into California, and certain other plants must be quarantined before they enter the state. However, shipping houseplants to California is fine as long as they are grown indoors using sterilized potting soil. So number one, you want to ask the USDA. Number two, you want to confirm suitability. Okay, who can ship plants and trees? I mean, the three major carriers in the U.S. will help you ship plants and small greenery, not a problem. And each has its own set of restrictions, but they generally follow the USDA guidelines. Okay, UPS and FedEx also offer packaging support to actually support specific plants. Now, how much does it cost? Well, the cost to ship live plants will vary significantly from around $10 or $20 to hundreds of dollars, depending on the plants and package size, especially given the need to have these plants shipped quickly. So you want to speak to your preferred carrier. Sorry about that. You want to speak to your preferred carrier directly whenever you want to ship plants. That's because shipping something over the weekend or using the wrong option could lead your plants actually sitting in a warehouse or waiting in transit, potentially harming them. You do not want to have that. So plants need speedy shipping. Think about that. Plants need to move to their destination quickly. The younger the plant, the more fragile it is in most cases. Many people and businesses ship younger plants because they are also smaller and thus actually cost less. So in most cases, you want to choose an expedited shipping method. So whether you go with UPS, USPS, or FedEx, think about getting something expedited. With USPS, for instance, you have Priority Mail and Priority Mail Express. With UPS, for instance, you have next day air service. And for FedEx, you have First Overnight, Standard Overnight, and Priority Overnight. Those are really good. So you want to pay attention. I think I said this before, but I want to say it again. You want to pay attention to temperature and moisture. Okay. Packages need to be sealed up, but that can be problematic when sending plants in the mail. So small and young plants can live well without any holes for airflow, but mid-sized plants may need some. So during cold weather, it is not really advisable to add holes to the shipping box, but you might need holes if you are shipping plants in hot conditions. So perhaps more important is matching temperature to your plant's needs, right? So it's something to really think about, and every plant is different. So also, you want to remove potted plants from their pots before shipping, but don't ship house plants with bare roots. Leave some of the soil on the roots when you pack the plants. So you want to package properly. So if you think about shipping live plants in the mail, you want to package properly. So let me give you a few steps to packing a plant here. First, you want to water the plants anywhere from a few hours to a day before you ship it. You want the soil to be slightly moist when you send the plant. You want to remove the plant from its spot. Be careful not to damage the roots. Leave some of the soil on the roots. You can ship a plant in a pot, but shipping will be more expensive because of the extra weight, and the steps are slightly different, okay? You want to wrap the root ball in damp newspaper or newspaper towels. If the plant will be in transit for several days, place some polymer moisture crystals inside the newspaper or paper towel. Soak them in water first. You can add more layers of damp paper or paper towels for more moisture. Wrap only the root ball in the damp paper, not the leaves. Very important. You want to wrap the roots in plastic wrap or place them inside a plastic bag, but be very careful to keep the leaves outside the plastic. And you want to place finally your plant in a suitable box with inserts or packing materials to actually protect your plant. How do you actually package plants for shipping here? Well, First of all, it is safe to ship plants. I want to insist on that. Now, there are risks though. It is safe to ship plants, but there are risks. Plants are shipped all the time, and many plants are lightweight, making it likely that you will be charged a dimensional weight for the package, right? So, in general, that means you can pack your plants securely to minimize harm without worrying about significantly increasing the price. To keep them safe, you want to do a few things. Consider sturdy shipping boxes, plastic bags and ties, bubble wrap or air-filled bags, packing paper, lightweight or plastic pots if you are shipping plants in potted, sterilized soils, and a flea collar or two. So that's really cool. It's in terms of flexibility, okay. And in terms of options for different types of plant shipping, you got to think about maybe floral arrangements and also bulk flowers, depending on the plants you are shipping. Next, you want to ship well. So if you think about shipping plants in the mail, you want to really ship properly. Let me explain to you how to ship potted plants. Most people ship plants without pots to minimize the cost of shipping, right? But there may be instances where it makes sense to ship houseplants or other types of plants in their pots. So if you are shipping plants in pots or living arrangements in vases, look for a corrugated cardboard that has a cardboard box that has an internal divider or enough space for you to add one, similar to the dividers used to pack wine bottles. Wrapping the pot or vase in cardboard helps limit movement while protecting the container, right? So whether shipping large potted plants or small potted plants, make sure to secure the pot with cardboard so that you can minimize shifting, for instance, hopefully preventing damage to plant stems and parts. Let's talk about one thing for sure though. If you want to ship plants in pots, you will also need cardboard inserts between the pot and the rest of the plant to keep the soil in place. You want to add this side up to the shipping label and arrows to prevent damage. So you want to ship plants in a plastic pot to reduce the cost of shipping and the chances of breakage. What about shipping house plants bare roots versus potted versus being potted really? The thing is, there is a debate about whether house plants do better being shipped bare roots versus in pots, right? Many say large and small houseplants should be shipped without pots. There are others that say shipping plants bare roots is fine, but it's important to add good packaging around the roots, and that makes it fine. However, it can be just as common to see preferences on shipping houseplants in pots, even though the shipping will be more expensive that way, okay? So you have bulk small plants. Sometimes you will ship a set of plants in a box. Here you will want to get trays that are close to the length and width dimensions of the box as possible. You also have seedlings. Shipping seedlings is actually common for e-commerce plant shops, but they are really fragile. Keep them safe by using boxes designed to fit the trays commonly used in greenhouses and stores during growing. And also you have orchids and delicate plants. Those actually need special care anyway. So let me talk to you about the next step here. You want to pack plants smartly. So if you want to ship plants in the mail, you want to pack plants smartly in the sense that plants are really living things and can be sensitive to moves. Many indoor plants, flowers, and smaller plants will need to be carefully packed. Large plants, trees, and bushes must be carefully removed from the ground with roots and soil intact. Large plants are often placed on a pallet with custom carpentry to prevent them from moving. The base will be wrapped in plastic if the branches are flexible and low to the ground. From there, the good thing is that the pallet is loaded onto a semi-truck and delivered directly to the home or business owner. Trees and plants shipped on pallets can easily weigh up to 500 pounds. So labeling is a critical element of how to ship plants. So you want to write the scientific and common names of your plant on the outside of each box, and also add labels that say live plants, perishable, or fragile. You want to give notice to all the handlers, okay? So let's talk about flour and small. And one thing I want to say here is that don't use paper labels because the moisture from the plant could render them unreadable. What about flour and small plant packing? If you are shipping smaller plants, the process is a little easier, and you can use carriers like UPS, USPS, and FedEx instead of needing to find a semi. Here are the steps for these packages. You want to prune your plants and remove dead elements up to a week before shipping. If plants have a pot, change to lightweight plastic pots with sterilized soil. Put the plant in a plastic bag and secure it over the pot or vase to prevent loss of soil. Put your plant in the appropriate box mentioned a little earlier. Secure the vase or pot in the box and wrap it with paper or bubble wrap. Add cardboard dividers or heavier materials around stems to actually limit vase pot movement and prevent damage to the plant. You want to fill void space with newspaper, shredded cardboard, or other natural fillers. If not using a box made with plants in mind, create a few small holes on the sides for airflow. And you also finally want to label the box per carrier instructions, including listing it as a plant and fragile. And you want to place the label on the top of the box for a better chance that your carrier moves it with the label actually facing up. Bottom line here is when you think about shipping plants in the mail, you got to really ask yourself if there are some unique requirements for the specific plant that you're trying to ship, right? Everything depends on the carrier you have chosen. The thing is that no fulfillment company knows everything about every package and product beforehand, right? So, but the thing is, if you have the right 3PL partner, basically you might have somebody who has experience when it comes to shipping certain products. Okay, so what you want to do is you can have a fleet collar, for instance. A fleet collar can be placed on the pot or of a plant to drive out any unwanted stowaways. Okay, they are helpful. Those fleet collars are helpful for getting rid of pests on your trees as well as those that might be in the soil of the pot. And gardeners actually tell us that they are a great deterrent to use regularly, and that you should cut up a collar into a 3-inch long pieces for smaller houseplants. So it's one of those things where you want to really maybe rely on the experience of a third party. Okay, so add a collar to the pot 3 days to a week before you plan to ship the plants for the best results. And so bottom line is, if you are going to go with a 3PL partner, you want to really have a conversation with them first, so they know what kind of shipments you are going to process through their supply chain. Okay, and that way they will see that they will tell you whether or not they can handle it or not. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just a lot better to have a conversation beforehand, before starting the whole relationship. That way you can really iron out any issues or any concerns right off the bat. So that's important. But just remember that everything starts with confirming with the authorities that everything is fine. You need to really ask the USDA, make sure that the authorities, not only federal but also state, are okay with the kind of plants you are thinking about actually mailing. So in closing remarks into this conversation, I spoke to you about how to ship plants in the mail. I gave you our opening remarks, the steps. Steps include asking the USDA, confirming suitability, packaging properly, shipping well, and packing plants smartly. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.